Hi everybody, I'm John DiStefano and welcome to the Stoughton Dish. On today's show, we're going to be going out to FOLEY'S Backstreet Grille, and then we're going to be going out to LOVEN Pizza. But before we do that, today's trivia question is, can you name the ice cream shop that was once located across the street from Town Hall on Pearl Street? We'll have the answer to that later in the show. Now let's go out to FOLEY'S Backstreet Grille. We're here at FOLEY'S Backstreet Grille, which is located on Pearl Street in Stoughton. We're here with Dave Foley,
Hello,
the
nice
owner, the chef, the man, the legend.
Yeah, apparently.
Now, before we talk about this delicious food that's in front of us, well, first of all, we're on the patio. Even though it's an overcast day today, it's still beautiful out here.
Yeah, it's real nice.
And before we talk about this food, why don't you give us the story on Backstreet Grille?
Well, I've been in the restaurant business since high school, and I've run a lot of kitchens and a lot of restaurants for different people over the years. And I always had my eye on this location since I live right down the street in Canton. And for the longest time, as you know, it lay dormant and various people came in and it would open for a couple years and staggered and stopped. And finally the opportunity came where I had the opportunity to purchase it from Conrad's when he owned it. And we made a deal. I came in with my wife, and we just pretty much took off running.
And you've been here how long?
Be 12 years in October, the Columbus Day weekend, actually.
Now, did you go to culinary school?
No, I didn't. I started out washing dishes and that kind of thing and worked my way up.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I was running a kitchen my first kitchen when I was 23 years old, and I've always been doing this, and just a love for cooking food and hanging out with people. It's a great business to be in.
You know, sometimes when you create it yourself, it's better.
Well, it's always been fun. It never gets old. It's always something that we play around with different foods all the time. We try new things and come up with ideas. It's just an easy way to be creative.
Now, I know you're famous for your seafood. We're going to talk about that in a second. Now, is there anything else on the menu that's like really popular?
Well, we do an awful lot with prime rib. We do. We serve a normal cut of prime rib on Friday and Saturday nights. We also serve it in a combination with shrimp. And then on Wednesday nights, we do an English cut, which is a smaller cut at a lower price, which has really become popular with people who, obviously, during the week, people are a little less extravagant with their spending, so they look for things that are a little bit more reasonably priced. And we started that, and that has taken off very well for us.
Now, when we talk about some of this delicious food, now, when we start with this over here.
Okay, that's our seafood casserole. It's a very popular dish. I stuff the shrimp. I hand stuff the shrimp myself with my own stuffing recipe. And we put that in combination with fresh haddock and fresh scallops. Bake it with some white wine and some seasoned crumbs with a little butter. And that, as I said, very popular. And if on the opposite side of the table you see the order of stuffed shrimp, which is just the straight shrimp. We serve 4 of the large stuffed shrimp. Again, it's the same item being utilized 2 different ways.
I haven't ordered that. My friend would order that, and I would have one of hers. It was excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. And we have another.
That's a special dish called a haddock lyonnaise. I take fresh haddock and top it with sautéed onions and Parmesan cheese with some crumbs and white wine. We bake that in the oven. Today, both that and the steak tips are featured with a sautéed vegetable medley that we like to serve fresh vegetables every night of the week. I serve butternut squash every night of the week because that's very popular. When I tried taking it off the menu, people were asking for it, so I said, all right, we'll run 2. So we vary the second vegetable, but I always have squash.
And this right
and
here?
This here is a dish I created called Shrimp Maryland. It's named after my 92-year-old mother. I've been making that for a long time. It's a Gulf shrimp sautéed with garlic and white wine with some lemon, and I toss it with some julienne vegetables. Serve it over angel hair pasta. And of course, the steak tips that I mentioned previously, those are a teriyaki steak tip. I hand cut my own steak tips and marinate in my own teriyaki sauce. And that's a very popular item. We're going through tons of steak tips these days.
We have to talk about these chips. These chips are fantastic.
Well, the chips are funny. I started playing around with them in a previous restaurant that I worked in. So when I opened here, I was thinking about when people sit down at the table to first go through the menu, especially we were new at the time. So I thought, well, let's give them something to munch on while they're looking at the menu. Didn't want to be like all these restaurants that throw bread and rolls at you and all that kind of stuff, right? I want just something while you order your drinks. You can nibble on some chips. So I started making my own. I season them. I have a seasoning blend that I use for various things that I use strictly for this, and they're very well received to the point when I do that cookout I did on Tuesday. On their menu, as part of the menu, they requested chips as well, which I just throw in buckets of those with the other food.
Most places give you popcorn. Believe me, I'd rather have these.
Well, again, I was trying to be different. That's all. I just trying to do things. You try to do things that make you a little more memorable, perhaps, or something that people say, "Oh yeah, that's the place with the chips."
Right. Now, there's one dish that we don't have on display that is my absolute favorite. It's the seafood Leah. I absolutely love that. Now, when we talk about that, what's in that?
That's a combination of shrimp and scallops that I have a special dressing like marinade that we roasted in the oven with some tomatoes, onions, and peppers. Serve it over my Florentine rice. That one's named after my daughter, and she always complains, my youngest daughter who works here, because she's allergic to shrimp, so she can't eat it. But nevertheless, I named it after her when she was just a little baby, so she's got to live with that.
David, why don't you tell us more about the patio?
Well, the patio's existed since I moved in, and we just never got around to moving out here. Till finally a few years ago, I went and petitioned the town to allow us to have outdoor dining during the summer months. It's worked out very well for us. We're only open from pretty much Memorial Day to Labor Day, and when the weather cooperates, as it's not today, but generally when the weather cooperates, it's beautiful out here. There's a nice breeze. Generally, we're further enough off the road, so there's not too much traffic noise. And we added some new string lighting this year that adds a little more ambiance to it. We've got the heaters if it gets a little cool, and it's worked out very well for us. We've had some very, very busy nights out here.
Now let's talk about the menu more. You know, your menu is very extensive, and what other things do you have on the menu?
Well, I make all my own soups and chowders. The onion soup and the clam chowder, very popular. We go through gallons of that a week. All my marinara sauce for my pasta dishes, all homemade. We do a lot with chicken parm, veal parm, a lot of sauté dishes with chicken, masalas, picadas, things like that. I try to incorporate the seafood as much as I can, though the costs have been prohibitive the last year or so on everything. Prices have gone through the roof, which have made it a little bit more difficult to get creative that way. But I try to offer enough so that if a party of 8 comes in, everybody in the party can get something they want versus settling on something.
Right.
And that's always the thing with me is, I hate to go to restaurants with very limited menus, and so you end up ordering something that was less than what you were looking for.
Well, I hate to go to restaurants where you leave hungry, and believe me, you won't do that here.
No, we always joke around about with the girls spend as much time packing the leftovers up to take home, and I say the good thing about that is the customers will think about us again the next day when they have it for lunch. So that's always a nice thing for the customer. We're happy to have them leave with a bag.
Well, my producer Jeff Pickett over there particularly likes your turkey dinner. And
well, it's funny how popular the turkey dinner has become, even in the summer months. We'll have a really warm, humid night like the last couple nights, and we'll be selling turkey dinners and onion soups and things like that, and you're like, you never would have thought that would be as popular as it is. But again, I guess because people can only have it once a year, they feel like they feel like this is a way that they can have turkey more often.
That's one of my favorite meals is a turkey. It's a complete turkey dinner.
Right.
It's everything. You make your own stuffing and all that?
Yeah, we make our own cornbread stuffing. I make my own smashed potatoes, make my own gravy. The only thing I don't make is the cranberry sauce, which I have a recipe for. It's a lot of work.
Well, I like how you call them smashed potatoes instead of mashed potatoes.
Well, I call them that because we don't peel them.
Right.
We leave the skins on. I like them that way. I like the flavor and the texture it gives. And it's just something that we do that maybe other restaurants don't. We try not to conform. We try not to be doing the same thing as a guy down the street's doing. And it's not easy to do this stuff. You know, a lot of places I know can buy you. I know nowadays you can buy frozen, prepared sauces and foods and pre-breaded chicken. And all. We don't do any of that.
Believe me, and they don't do that. And believe me, you can tell.
Well, exactly.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to own a place like that.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, it's a give and take. It's not the easiest thing to work a schedule like
Right.
this, but overall, it's how I want to do it, and I've been doing it this way my whole life.
In my opinion, that's just laziness. You know, if you're gonna do it like that, that's just laziness.
Well, you know, I mean, it is more cost effective. I
Right.
mean, there's no question. I could make more money
Right.
serving inferior products. I just can't do it. I wouldn't be able to face you if I did. So that's why I don't.
Now, why don't you tell us your hours again?
Okay, we open on Tuesday through Saturday, evenings only. We open during the week, Tuesday through Friday at 5, and Saturday at 4, because a lot of the older folk like to come in a little bit earlier on Saturdays. And I like to say we close when I feel like it.
Okay.
Because our hours are 10 o'clock, but if it gets quiet, I've got a lot of young mothers working for me who got to get home and their day's not done. They got to
Right.
make lunches for school, things like that. They got to do laundry. So we have it's a general consensus that we close when we're ready to close.
Right. Now, you can view his menu online.
Yes.
What's your website?
My website is backstreetgrille.com.
Okay.
And all the menu, catering, all the information's on the website. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. We do a lot of different email. We email specials out during the week sometimes. We email if there's special events. Try to keep people informed on what it is that we're doing.
What I've noticed on your menu, each different section of the menu is named for Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
Why don't you explain that?
Well, I'm a big Springsteen guy. I've seen him in concert 73 times so far.
73 times?
And I'm a big. I've got his East Street radio on my satellite radio in my truck, and everyone who knows me knows I'm a little manic. I've been to Dublin to see a couple shows, and we've been all over the East Coast. My brother-in-law's seen him even more than I have. So when I first bought the restaurant, I was thinking of a name for the restaurant, and my favorite song by Bruce is Backstreets. So that's why originally I wanted to incorporate the name Backstreet into that's where the name of the restaurant came. And I always wanted to do this with the headings for the entrees.
Right.
And I was a little reluctant because I thought people wouldn't get it. And then it occurred to me, let's see if people get it. So when I redid the menu one time, I changed them all, tried to keep it, for instance, 7 Angels for appetizers.
Right.
There's 7 appetizers there. Atlantic City for the seafood.
Okay.
You get the connotation of
Right.
the ocean. So I just, and people, to their credit, people do notice, and some people get all fired up about it, which is kind of fun. And some people even call me out. They want to tell Bruce stories. So that's kind of cool. It's just a fun thing to do. This is supposed to be fun. That's
Right.
what I tell everybody. The restaurant business is supposed to be fun.
And I like how you got the secret garden for the salads.
Right. Yep.
The Badlands for the meat, the chicken, and the
Right,
veal.
yep,
And,
yep.
I also want to mention that I like the fact how you have a burger in honor of Canton, then you have a sandwich in honor of Stoughton.
Right.
When we talk about those two.
Well, I grew up in Canton, so the Canton-Stoughton rivalry has always been a big deal. I actually coached sports when my boys were young in Canton. I even coached football at Canton High for a couple of years as an assistant coach, and I've always been a part of that rivalry, which has always been fun for me. I played at Canton High as well, and then as my sons came through, they both played quarterback at Canton High. I had a daughter that was a point guard on the basketball team at Canton High, and then I have so many of the kids that I employ in the kitchen, dishwashers and cooks, that are Stoughton kids too. So we've always had that rivalry
Right.
even in the kitchen,
Wow.
and we always go at it pretty good. And like 2 years ago, a couple of the football captains from Stoughton High were both working for me, which was a lot of fun. And so when I started out, I named the Black Knight for the black pastrami sandwich that we use, and so I had to do something for Canton, so I called the burger the Bulldog Burger, and that's strictly why. There's nothing special about it other than it makes me smile. We're right on the border of the two towns as well, so we draw equally from both towns. So it's a nice crossover.
Now your catering menu is really extensive too.
Well, we've grown to the point now where we do over $100,000 a year in catering.
Wow.
And we do in-house as well as off-premise catering. We do a lot of baby showers, wedding showers, those kind of things, anniversary parties. We do a lot. I'm over the last couple of years, I've done a lot with the Stoughton Council on Aging and the Canton Council on Aging. We feed the seniors. We do Christmas parties, cookouts, things like that, which are a lot of fun to do.
Right. I know FOLEY'S is big on causes. I know you support a lot of causes in town, especially the road race. Why don't we talk about the road
Well, I do
race?
a 5K road race we've done for the last 5 years, and it benefits the Pappas Rehabilitation School for Children over in Canton, formerly the Mass Hospital School. I knew my son had a friend who went through that program, trained there as a Paralympian, and so I was familiar with that school over the years. And when we decided to look for something that would fit what we do. So I also run a golf tournament in the fall every year. The money from both of those events goes to the school. But I contribute to all the local causes as well, all the schools. We did the pasta dinner at the West School this year. I donate all the pasta, everything, and myself and one of my guys go over and we serve it all. The kids actually wait on their families wait on the tables, and I teach them how to kind of take the orders and bring them to me, and we serve pasta meatballs, and it's a fun little fundraiser for them. They really have a good time with it. Things like that. I have one of my employees is a cancer survivor. She's involved in a lot of fundraising, and that's a big one for us because there's so many cancer fundraisers, and we try to get involved with everybody. You know, we try to do what we can, whether it's a gift certificate, whether it's a sponsorship. It's what we like to do.
Well, I want to thank you for having us.
Oh no, it was my pleasure.
My
I
pleasure,
always enjoy to talk to customers and friends, and I like to sit down with people and talk about this business because it's always good that the public hears how the restaurants actually run.
Right, and I just want everybody to know you're very big on your seafood. If you love seafood, you come to FOLEY'S Backstreet Grille.
Thank you. Appreciate
It's
it.
delicious.
Thank you.
Especially the seafood Leah. Love that.
Seafood Leah. I'll tell Leah you were asking for her.
Thank you, David.
Thanks. Always my pleasure. Thank you.
Anytime. Hi, we're at LOVEN Pizza. We're here with Blake Diamond, who is the general manager of LOVEN Pizza. And before we discuss this food, why don't you give us a brief history of LOVEN?
Sure. So we've been open about 3 years now. The original location was actually in Falmouth, Massachusetts. The owner, Scott Lopes, opened that about 5 years ago when I was in college. He approached me my junior year, asked if I was interested in carrying out the brand with him. And then this location opened up a couple of years later, and here we are.
I just want to mention before we go any further, people are going to be watching this say, well, LOVEN's not in Stoughton. Well, they're right on the line. I love coming here. The pizza's awesome. It's one of my favorite places to go.
Yeah.
And you're all part of the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce.
We are.
So, so that works.
Yeah, well, I tell people because they ask me if we're in Canton or Stoughton or Sharon, and I tell them there's a Rite Aid next door. If you check the weather, you're in Sharon. Here, you're in Canton. If you go to McDonald's across the street, it's going to say Stoughton.
Right, you're right on the line.
But that really benefits us because of all the surrounding schools and businesses. If you go any which direction, there's tons of support, tons of groups of clusters of businesses, and as I mentioned, the schools. A lot of the teachers use us for fundraising events and catering orders and everything else. So it really is a benefit to us to be on a tri-town where we can help out 3 towns at once.
Now let's discuss this. I'm telling you, the smell of this food is driving me crazy. Why don't we start? We'll save the pizzas for a bit. Why don't we start with the paninis? What kind of panini is that?
That's our natural panini. It's definitely one of our most popular. It's freshly sliced tomatoes, fresh mozzarella on ciabatta bread with basil and herb aioli, in-house made herb aioli. All of our paninis, sandwiches, and wraps come with a side of chips or pasta salad and a pickle. That is one of our most popular, along with the turkey artichoke panini and the chicken panini.
Okay.
They're all very, very good.
And you also have calzones, right?
We do have calzones. They're very similar to our pizza menu. So the base of every calzone is mozzarella and ricotta. But you can put any one of our specialty pizzas via calzone, or the meatball is definitely very popular. It comes with a side of marinara sauce. And pepperoni as well. So
those wings look absolutely unbelievable. I'm a big wing person. Those are just plain wings?
Those have a light buffalo sauce on them. we sell a ton of wings here, especially during football season, and the key is we have a combi oven, so it steams the wing. So first we season them, and then we steam them, so it allows them to really hold their moisture in. So then we portion them up, and then when it's time to order, we flash fry them in the fryer later for a minute or two, so they don't dry out, and then we pan fry them to really bake the seasoning into them.
They look really nice and crispy.
Yeah.
And salads. I'm a big salad person also.
The salads actually almost hit 15 to 18% of our overall sales, which is really good. And the reason why our salads are so popular is because of the demographics. People in this area tend to want to get a good salad. It's a healthy community, and we have a very small location for the amount of volume that we do. With that being said, we get fresh produce in every single day, with the exception of Sunday, because they don't deliver Sunday. We use a local company. Everything is prepped pretty much to order. We don't have the room back there to store things or order in bulk, which is what you see in a lot of other places to save money. We don't have that luxury, but it actually ends up benefiting the customer.
Right, and then what other type of salads do you have?
That is our summer salad right there. That's very popular. This baby spinach and gorgonzola salad is one of our other most popular salads. It's got gorgonzola, parmesan, sun-dried cranberries, roasted peppers, Kalamata olives, and then we have the basic garden, Greek, and Caesar. And then our Asian salad comes with our candied almonds, wonton strips, and chicken.
So that sounds really good. And you have wraps and sandwiches?
Yep, the wraps and sandwiches kind of fall into the paninis. They all come with a side of chips and pasta salad. Some of the more popular wraps, there's the Turkey Club, which is your basic, almost like a BLT with turkey. Our feta veggie wrap comes with hummus, our house-made peppers, field greens. That's excellent. If you are, in the vegetarian area, you can add chicken to that too, though. And then we do have an Italian and a meatball sub. We get our bread from Piantadosi Bread Company, and our French bread, 10-inch French roll, is absolutely amazing.
Okay, pastas.
Our mac and cheese, and I'm not even just saying this because it's my store, is one of the best mac and cheese you will get in New England. It is phenomenal. I owe it to actually the owner, Scott. It's his wife's recipe, and we took that, commercialized it, and that is the Stone Lovin' mac and cheese.
Okay. And what other kind of pastas do you have?
We have a pesto tortellini, which is very good. It's a creamy pesto sauce with cheese tortellinis. All of our pasta dishes come with a side of garlic bread. We have a chicken Alfredo, which is in-house Alfredo sauce. We make it here. We have classic spaghetti and meatballs. And then the lasagna that we have is made in-house as well. So that's very good, yeah.
Now, I just want to, before we go any further, I just want to point out this menu behind us. That's quite a menu.
Yeah, it's a lot to look at. Compared to a lot of other pizza places, if you break it down, we have 5 pasta dishes, 5 paninis, 5 sandwiches, 5 wraps, good amount of salads, and a whole bunch of pizza. So when you look at the categories, it's really not that overwhelming, but when you look up at that menu, it is kind of cluttered. Believe it or not, that's the original calligraphy and artwork from 3 years ago when we opened. A friend of mine from high school did it, and believe it or not, she did it without sketching anything out. She did it all free. I gave her a menu, and 2 hours later, that was up.
Now let's get to this pizza. Now this is pretty unusual pizza.
Yeah, we brought out the big guns.
You have to explain what's on this.
So the sweet potato and bacon, that's been like a marquee pizza of Stone Lovin' since back in Falmouth. Originally, it had a pine nut spread as the base, but given the allergy concerns, in the pizza unit, we don't have any nuts. So rather than worrying some customers, we actually switched to a garlic oil base. And we told people, but it didn't really change the taste, the profile too much. So it's got a garlic oil base with fresh baby spinach, a little bit of mozzarella. We cook the sweet potatoes in-house, so it's got a fair amount of sweet potatoes, caramelized onions, and gorgonzola. And then when it comes out of the oven, we hit it with a balsamic reduction.
It looks really good. It smells really good too. And this one here?
That's the fig and prosciutto. So if you can think about like a fig Newton, what comes inside that, we get a big tub of that. It's called fig square filling. And we mix that up with a little bit of thyme and then balsamic and water. And then we emulsify that, and that's how you get the base of this. And then we thinly slice prosciutto with mozzarella, the caramelized onions, which we also make in-house, and then gorgonzola.
This is my favorite thing on the menu to get when I come here. What I like about it the most is the crust is very crunchy, and you get the fig jam and balsamic vinegar, which is very sweet, and the onions are very sweet also. And you got the prosciutto and the cheese, which is salty, and the combination of those two things just make it a fabulous pizza to get. Now, what other type of specialty pizzas do you have?
We have a chicken pesto, which is excellent. That comes with our house-made roasted peppers, Asiago, mozzarella. Obviously our house-made chicken, which is very healthy. It's just oil, Italian seasoning, a little bit of garlic, and then tomatoes, and I think I mentioned mozzarella on that.
Okay.
We do offer a scallop and bacon pizza.
I've had that.
That's
one.
a fan favorite.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. You know, we keep the scallops very fresh. You know, if anything's going on with them, we immediately discard. It is kind of a pricey pizza, but that's what you pay for good seafood.
Good.
You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you know, we have the meat lover, the specialty. Our vegetable pizza is called the tree hugger pizza. And it's, you know, it sounds a little controversial. We've actually never had anyone say anything about it yet, but that's because they like it so much. So they don't want to come in here and, you know, say anything about it because they're in love with it. You know what I mean? And that's all fresh vegetables. The only vegetables we use from a can are black olives, jalapenos, and artichoke hearts because, I mean, let's be honest, you can't really get those fresh and expect them to hold, you know what I mean? But everything else comes in from Johnny's Produce, as I mentioned, local, fresh produce.
Now, why don't you explain your oven?
It's a stone oven, so it is a traditional stone hearth. It is gas fed. We don't have the flame. We didn't have the room in here to get like a Bertucci's feel where you have the flame in the back, although that is a big part of you know, the concept. The Falmouth location had that, and it looks beautiful, but it just was not feasible in a small location like this. So we have Marcel deck ovens, and they work great. We run them at 585. At a time like this, it's a little slower, and the dough is at perfect temperature. We can cook a pizza in under 5 minutes.
Wow.
On a Friday night, when the volume's high, and you know we got a lot of cold dough going onto that oven, it's going to hit anywhere from 5:45 to 6.5 minutes.
Now your sauce, you make your own sauce.
We make all of our own sauces. It's just fresh peeled tomatoes, and then we add a little bit of salt, basil, and garlic powder.
Now, are these the large or?
These are small, actually.
These are small. Oh, wow.
I want to leave some room on the table, so we have a 12-inch small and a 16-inch large.
Wow.
But just so everybody knows, when you eat here, this is actually a 13-inch pan.
Okay.
So when you eat in-house, you actually get an extra inch, no charge.
Now, how can you be contacted? You have a Facebook page or?
We do have a Facebook page, and as I mentioned, you can order online at stoneloven.com, and then our entire menu is on there.
Okay.
Obviously, the phone number is listed on there. It's 781-575-1700. We're open 11 o'clock every day of the week, and then we close at 9 on weekdays, and then 10 o'clock on Friday, Saturday. Our delivery hours follow 11 until a half an hour before we close.
Thank you for letting us come in.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Anytime, guys.
Thank you. Before we leave, let's give the answer to today's trivia question, which was, can you name the ice cream shop that was once located across the street from Town Hall on Pearl Street? And the answer is Webster's Ice Cream Shop. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out my reviews on the Stoughton Enthusiast page on Facebook, and we'll see you next time on the Stoughton Dish.